Country, or is it one side of the country fighting the government?
One side of the country fighting the government. Actually, I heard.
So have we tried to pay attention to the other side of the country that is quiet? Are they also comfortable with this government?
That's what I said earlier. So
because there we go.
Okay. What's up, family? Welcome to Africa is Home Global. My name is Jean-Paul. Tonight, we're going to talk to you guys about the state of the continent. The situation has escalated in Ethiopia. The rebels are threatening to capture the capital city of Addis Ababa. Prime Minister Abiy called the state of the emergency. Thousands of people gathered in Addis Ababa to protest and to support the government. Here with me to discuss this issue is Peter and the co-founder of Africa's Home Global, Platini. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. So when you look at the situation in Ethiopia, Platini, what is your take on that?
Well, thank you so much, Mr. JP, and thanks everyone for always tuning in. Well, honestly, I feel like it's a domestic problem. Like I relate that directly to tribalism, because if you look at exactly how the things are going in Ethiopia, it's one group of people, like certain ethnic group of people, fighting against another one for power. So it's basically like a domestic problem there, and we should really try to live together. That's all I would say to Ethiopia, is we should really try to live together and not let this situation get to a point where foreign policies are going to step in. Right. Because that would not be good for the country. Right. And all of us have seen that happen a lot of times. For example, that has happened in Libya, and it has happened in Afghanistan, in Syria. There are a lot of countries to show that with these examples and so on. So Ethiopia should probably try as much as possible to keep this as a house thing. Don't let it escalate to that point where foreign power, the West, is going to step in. It's not going to be good for them.
Right. Peter, what is your take on the situation in Ethiopia right now?
Yeah, JB, thank you for inviting me to the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really a pleasure for me sitting here by you guys. Africa is home, and everything you're doing. We're talking here about Ethiopia, and the situation there has been really escalating. Like, it's been a war for, I don't want to say a real war in the real sense of the term, but it's like we're talking about an armed conflict here.
Right.
Yeah, which has been surging for like 2 years more than
2 years.
Yeah, more than 2 years. I mean, if we want to pull it back, we're going to pull it back to the histories. No, Ethiopia, it's one of the few countries that wasn't really colonized.
One of the two, because it's Ethiopia and Liberia.
Yeah, correct.
Right,
yeah. So Ethiopia kind of grew up being this kind of dynastic country. Yeah. So since the 18th century, it's in the 1970s. So with that, the primary characteristics of those kind of regimes, or those kind of growth of states, is that they had to like conquer tribes in order to expand. We're talking about Haile Selassie and stuff. So you had to like conquer tribes to expand. You have to, I mean, even Eritrea, just like part of Ethiopia.
Yeah, it was part of Ethiopia.
Yeah. So building the country from conquered tribes kind of makes it at times very difficult to govern at the end of the day. So that's what happens. Having all these conglomerates, or bringing all these different tribes together and trying to really fit them together into a one country, demands like really good governance. Because once good governance is out of the picture, everyone kind of feels it's time for me. I mean, in those days we're doing our own thing. Yeah, we're doing our own thing before this guy colonized us or this guy conquered us. So it's better we go back to where we were and start to do it. So we're talking about a very complex issue here, and when we talk about tribes in Africa, many things come into play. So it's going to be
tribalism. Now, if you look at Ethiopia, the problem with Ethiopia is inclusion. So Tigray and Oromo. So Tigray has been ruling the country over 2 decades. Now Oromo also want to be included in the governance. I think that's what the problem is. Now, the reason why Ethiopia might end like Libya is if they allow the Western power to interfere in their internal affairs.
That's what I was saying.
Right?
That's exactly what I was saying.
So what do you guys think? Do you think the Ethiopian government should work with the West, or do you think Ethiopia should solve their own internal affair?
That would be the biggest mistake ever if the Ethiopian government works with the West. We have seen that happen a lot of times. It never ends good. So personally, I feel like Ethiopia government should try to negotiate with these other tribes because they've termed them terrorists. But like we are saying here, it's more of a tribal issue. So it's like you live in a house and you have a sibling, and then you guys are fighting for position or something.
It's
And then,
family. Sit down.
Yeah, it's family.
Have a conversation here, both sides. What
Absolutely.
do you need? What can we need? Can we do to build a government?
There we
It's inclusion.
don't
right?
treat your brother like he's an outsider and then
Right.
step to another outsider to help out.
Exactly.
They don't come with the best interest. I'm gonna be 100% honest with us here. I don't think anybody is gonna step into Ethiopia and fight to free the people of Ethiopia without having a hidden agenda, except an Ethiopian.
True.
And I believe it's very complex in a globalized world now, in a contemporary world, to really talk about not inclusion of external factors, because just the African Union itself, it's kind of an acceptance of the fact that we have to work together, bringing all other. I mean, the former president of Nigeria is actually in
President
Ethiopia.
Obasanjo.
Yeah, Obasanjo. So like an emissary, like from the African Union, trying to help in order. So it's going to be difficult. But now I don't think like JP said that we are talking about a Libya situation here. I don't think we are there yet, because
But the way things are going,
We are heading there.
You know what they did?
We're on the
They
highway.
turned Libyans against Gaddafi.
That's
That's
the thing.
exactly what happened, and they fell for that. And look at Libya today. That's exactly what's happening in Ethiopia. The Oromos and Tigrais turned against Prime Minister Ahmed Abiy. And that's what's causing this war. The Oromo are saying, "Oh, we are not included." The Tigray are saying, "Oh, we are not included," and that's causing the conflict.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the escalation. What the escalation is not really at that level. True, we have a lot of communication issues in Ethiopia now, because the internet is not as fluent there as it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, the media is highly censored and stuff like that. So it's kind of really difficult to penetrate and really understand exactly what is happening right there, because even when the Prime Minister Ahmed was saying that the TPLF kind of attacked the military base, it's all kind of. No one really has like all like the pictures or the video of the TPLF guys actually really attacking the military base and stuff.
them.
So there's a lot of censorship as far as communication, as far as the media is concerned in Ethiopia. So I mean, I still believe it's a situation that can be handled on the ground. If you look at even really prominent bloggers in Ethiopia, they kind of really want to paint this picture of Ethiopia that is still really regular. People still wake up every morning and go to do their chores.
And that's only in Addis Ababa.
Yeah, sure.
In the northern part. In
No,
the situation is completely different.
Definitely.
Of course, they won't show that. The
Definitely.
mainstream will paint a bad image of Ethiopia, saying that people are dying, there is war. Yes, there is war, but not as bad as they are reporting, right?
Well, honestly, no matter how the situation is on ground, right, I feel like it's about time Africa try to stand on its feet and handle our own problems. That is my take on this, because I would really appreciate if the AU could step in and handle this.
I mean, they're already in.
Yeah.
They're already
But
in.
The AU, the headquarters right in Addis Ababa.
Yeah, sure.
Look, who even issued a statement? The president's running is Felix Tshisekedi.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
AU
of
president.
Congo.
Yeah, right now the chair is Muhammad Faki. Have you heard a statement about what's going on in Ethiopia?
Nah.
AU
I
have
haven't
they
heard anything.
issued a statement? I checked their website.
They haven't issued anything.
I have not.
Yeah, I mean,
seen-
as of now, we know Obasanjo is like in Ethiopia, which is like the emissary for the African Union, trying to mitigate the whole thing. But one thing we shouldn't miss out is the fact that we have to tackle problems like this from the root, because each time we want to bring like cosmetics solutions to this kind of problems, it becomes really, really, really complicated. It might really maybe reduce the volume now, take it a little bit down, but people whose parents were killed today, they might be like the new rebels tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how it happens. They come out for revenge.
It's kind of it kind of builds this circle of never-ending violence. So
And conflict.
Yeah, and so I believe it's this situation has its positive and negative factors. The very first positive factor is the fact that it's actually exposed a problem in Ethiopia. It's like really exposed a problem of governance.
The people are not comfortable.
So in order to solve the problem, you have to go to the roots, right?
Yeah.
So the TPLF are claiming that nobody elected Prime Minister Abiy, which is true. He was there in transition. He was never elected by people.
Then he just stayed in power.
Right. They were supposed to have an election in 2020, but the pandemic.
I believe that's not actually. I mean, that could be one of the reasons, but the TPLF, the main reason is because the prime minister decided to like take them out from government. Like, yeah, so
but they have been ruling.
Definitely. I mean, there's no way you can rule it. There's no way Ethiopia can actually really function without all the factors. As I said, remember the history of Ethiopia makes it very very complicated to rule from just one. I don't want to say one ethnic group or one particular region.
They have to be.
You need to bring. I mean,
you got to spread the power.
Federal state. Yeah,
you got to spread the power.
Right.
Yeah,
among everybody.
That's the problem we have in Africa. Tribalism. Right?
Tribalism. That's why I always go back to tribalism.
It's actually states. No, I mean, I'm usually not really fast in taking the tribalism route because. It could actually still be tribalism.
Yeah.
But I want to begin. Tribalism for me is like the effect of bad governance.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not like the cause. That's not what the cause is. Tribalism kind of flows from bad principles being applied and things like that. I mean, already putting out or taking out a group of persons or a particular region from the main organization in the country is a way of kind of relegating them. It's like you're
excluding them.
I
also heard that the TPLF wanted Tigray to be their own country. No, they've been fighting with Eritrea for a long time to claim so they can create their own country, and that's what we don't want in Africa.
No,
we want one Africa for Africans.
If we keep accepting these small tribes to break into countries, man, we're gonna have so many.
Right.
That doesn't help unity.
1,600 ethnic group in Africa. Now, if every ethnic group divide, we end up with more than 1,600 plus countries.
Nah, that's not what we want. We don't want that.
We want the African to unite.
Yeah.
You know, so if Ethiopia allowed that to happen, it will set an example. So it's already happening in Sudan. Amazonia.
I mean that's no. Definitely. But that's usually an approach that I'm usually very, very, very slow in taking because you never actually know how these things end. No one actually knew Eritrea was going to actually eventually cut off and
Sudan too.
Yeah. South Sudan.
Right.
No one kind of. Yeah. So you can really never tell that it's going to happen that way.
Yeah.
Because it's like something in the future. No one actually knows how those events are going to play. But what we can control now is the present.
Absolutely.
Right. And the present the situation right now is we need an inclusive dialogue, like in Ethiopia.
And
like,
I would really wish Ethiopia keeps their foreign policies out.
Yeah, no.
I want them to keep anything out of Ethiopia out.
No,
In order to solve this problem, in any African country, in my opinion, every party has to be included in the governance or there will be conflicts. Now look, there are more than 1,000 dialects in Ethiopia. How come only Tigrays are the only one complaining? What about the rest? That means they're included. So the government excluded them. They're like,
they're very much involved in the government.
So they want to be involved. Yeah. That's one of the solutions.
They feel left out.
Yeah, they need to bring them back in. That's the very first step. They need to bring them back in.
Right.
I mean, they need to do this peace treaty. But the problem is, once you're tagging them already like terrorists, it becomes very difficult. Yeah. Because now the circle will be like, who do we dialogue with? You start getting questions like, who do we dialogue with? We can't dialogue with terrorists.
And
so we need...
Mr. Peter, sometimes the African governments always waste so much time to actually go to negotiate with these people that are crying.
I agree.
So now it's a little bit like too late. They have hurt these people so much that they don't even want to sit down and talk.
Probably President Obasanjo is there right now. It's because they threatened to capture Addis Ababa. Reports are saying they are 40 kilometers away.
That's already like late.
Oh, they're gonna capture. Now I want a dialogue.
Exactly.
They should have started
that a long time ago.
Long time ago and say, hey, look, let's sit down. What do you want?
Let's
talk. Let's have a conversation and see how we can solve this.
Yeah, from the inside, right?
From the get-go.
From the inside.
From within,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of equally one of the reasons why conflicts kind of stale and then escalate, and then it becomes really very complex to handle.
Right.
Because little things are always taken for granted.
Right.
They treat these matters like they are not. They are very careless.
Very, very simple. Okay. Oh, there's one thing, right? Okay, let's see what's going on there. What do you guys? What are you lacking?
Exactly.
Oh, we need a voice. Okay. Elect someone to
represent,
right? Or
in the
this
parliament or
tribes.
something.
Oh, we need, because if you look at a typical political group in Africa, it's basically a collection of a certain ethnicity, right?
That's very typical.
Why you see after every election in Africa, there is always fight, right? In Nigeria, you see it in Congo, in Cameroon. Because everywhere. It's basically a collection of a certain ethnicity. So inclusion is very, very important in African governance.
Yeah, definitely.
We can't ignore ethnicity.
Definitely.
We cannot.
I mean, that's how.
They are part of the country. They should have a voice.
Yes.
Everything.
That's another. That's a very good point there, because at times we kind of forget, or our rulers kind of forget, that the country is actually the people.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, at times they feel like the country is just like the space, or it's just like the land. No. Like, even if the land were there and there's like no one there,
there's no one. It doesn't make
that's
a country.
not the state.
Right.
Yeah, we need. Yeah, the land is like one of the elements that make a state.
The people, of course, makes the country.
Yeah. That's very important. So excluding is already out of the table.
How will you even know their needs if you exclude them?
Yeah, so excluding them is already out of the table. So we're talking here about an inclusive dialogue.
Right.
I mean, that's very political term that has usually been used very, very, very often in different debates, especially when we have conflicts in Africa. I mean, for instance, in Cameroon, we've had like a dialogue to end like the armed conflict that is in Cameroon. We've had dialogue, but was it sincere? It wasn't sincere.
Those dialogues came very late too.
No, it wasn't even.
So that's the problem.
The problem is they don't handle these things.
Solve the problem at the beginning. Before it gets worse. And I'm telling you, the reason why Ethiopian governments want a dialogue with the TPLF now, it's because they are
close to the capital city of Ethiopia. That's why they're feeling the heat.
They're taking them serious now.
Yeah.
Oh, these people are serious.
I mean,
they might actually take the capital.
Yeah, we should still see the good side of it. Now they're acknowledging that these people are serious. They're acknowledging that these people actually really have grievances that they want solved immediately. And now they've created for themselves like their own monsters in their own backyard.
Absolutely.
So they still have the chance. They still have, I mean, the PM there, the Prime Minister still has a chance to really sit down with these guys and discuss. But
it's a little bit complicated now because these people are already testing power.
No, again,
they are seeing victory. They are close to the capital city, so they are seeing
what the reports are saying is true. 40 kilometers, it's a matter of a day.
Right?
No, but international bodies, like for instance the US, they have actually already taken position. For instance, saying they're not going to like back the TPLF. I mean, no one is going to. It's going to be hard to see because no one wants that kind of situation in their own countries. So now they're already sending warning signs. No, we don't want armed conflict, because at the end of the day,
who is sending the warning signs? The US?
Yeah, I mean international, even the UN, like international body, the one what call it a sort of no more.
Okay, here's the thing: these people saw this from the beginning.
Right.
They saw all of this happen from the beginning. They didn't say anything.
Nothing. They waited.
So they waited for this to get close to the capital city. Then now they are sending warnings. You know what? US,
so what
they should stay out.
No, so what I proposing? So what I guys
is not going to work.
So what I guys proposing?
I want this to still stay a domestic thing. I want it to be Ethiopia negotiating with Ethiopia.
No, I mean we have to be clear.
Anybody that should interfere is AU.
AU should be the only person. Anything US, UN, no.
Why do you guys believe the AU is going to be the best option?
Well, because that's the only entity that unifies Africa. Because we don't want outsiders. That's my point. This whole podcast, no outsiders.
I mean, the AU. We have thousands of conflicts that are running in Africa. I want to take a straight example here. Okay. We're talking of, let's say, the Anglophone crisis in Cameroon.
Yeah. Right.
How many times have we got like the AU come out like?
Well, that's one thing too. We need to call them out.
You see,
AU's not your right.
All right, this is a very good example.
So what
if the Ambazonians in Cameroon, they call them the group is the Ambazonian, right? That is fighting to get their own independence from Cameroon.
Right.
If they succeed to make it close to Yaoundé, the capital city of Cameroon, everybody now is going to come out and start talking.
And that's the problem.
That's the problem with Ethiopia, because I believe these people have been complaining for years. Nobody has been saying anything
right now,
until they are close to Addis Ababa.
No, we've all accepted that fact.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Okay.
My problem right now is we have a bad situation here.
Yeah.
Now we know we have a bad situation. Which is one thing. Which is good thing
from the beginning.
Which is good to acknowledge. No, I mean now at least now
it's out for the world.
Let's say now we are taking them serious.
Yeah,
we didn't take them serious.
Yeah, now
we are taking them
I
serious.
mean, it is a good thing that they are already taking them serious because they still would have given them a deaf ear. I mean, it's already a good thing they're taking them serious, which is good because it kind of gives reassurance even to the Ethiopian people who live in Addis Ababa that I mean we can still figure out a way to. I mean, imagine.
Wait, let me ask you a question, Mr. Peter.
Yeah.
Did you say they could have chosen to still give them a deaf ear? These people are 40 kilometers away from the capital city.
They could still give them a deaf ear.
No, they cannot. They cannot.
This dialogue will fail.
No, what I mean by deaf ear. What I mean by deaf ear.
These people are seeing power. They're seeing success. They're not gonna want to talk.
What I mean by giving them a deaf ear is the fact that the government doesn't really care about what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, and they might decide to do whatever. I mean, now we get like all this thing about like human rights violations and things like that. It could,
where were they when the people?
Where were they when these people were crying from the beginning? That's my question.
You know what?
That's an internal problem.
Tigray itself, it's a region in northern Ethiopia.
Yeah, definitely.
They share a border with Eritrea. That region alone has been fighting with Eritrea for decades. Where was the government? Where was UN? Where was the West?
I have a question for you guys. This situation in Ethiopia, is it one side of the country fighting another side of the country, or is it one side of the country fighting the government?
One side of the country fighting the government. Actually, I heard.
So have we tried to pay attention to the other side of the country that is quiet? Are they also comfortable with this government?
That's what I said earlier. So
because if they are not comfortable with this government, right, then the problem is the government.
That's what we are saying.
And it should be overthrown and taken out.
Inclusion. Now listen.
That's not how it works.
I even heard Oromo join Tigray now to fight the government because they are both anti-government.
Okay,
like
the government, right? They don't like the regime, right?
There is no inclusion in Ahmed Abiy's governance.
Okay.
It's only a certain concentration of...
Are the other side of Ethiopia comfortable with this government?
Apparently, because they are now joining TPLF, because it's only Oromo and Tigray that...
No, because when I say this, I'm trying to relate it to the situation in Cameroon. I also know the other tribes in Cameroon, like when you talk about the Beti, the Kwa, the people from northern part of Cameroon, I believe they are not comfortable with the government. But the reason they are not joining the English side of Cameroon to fight is because they haven't been included from the beginning. That's my take.
No,
from
I mean,
that. They haven't been included. If it was a nationwide thing, I believe everybody would have risen up against the government.
So here's the
because I don't think they're comfortable with it.
It's because of the policy, or it's because of the governance. You know, like I said, in Africa we have a problem of ethnic group. If you want to succeed in Africa, you have to include every ethnicity in the governance. Every ethnicity must have a voice.
Yeah, definitely.
Or else
the table has to be big.
That's
everyone has to be involved.
In Ethiopia, that's what we're seeing in Uganda, Cameroon, Congo. You know, Paul Biya has been there for 40 years. Only one person. Do you think the rest are happy? No. In Uganda, we saw with Museveni and Bobby Wine. You know, we are seeing it in Congo, we are seeing it in Nigeria, and now Ethiopia, Sudan.
Yeah.
You know, so everybody have to be
I'm just trying to figure out if this problem is these tribes fighting against the government, or these tribes fighting against the other tribes.
No, they're not fighting. They're
against the government.
They're not fighting other tribes.
Just the government. So now, are the other tribes comfortable with this government? That's my biggest question. That's my biggest question mark.
That's a hard way. That's a hard way. How do you evaluate
because
that?
They're very quiet about it.
How do you evaluate that?
So here this thing.
It's difficult to evaluate.
So
it's gonna be a survey, like asking them questions directly. I think that's the only way you can know from them by asking them questions. Like, are you comfortable with the government?
The tribe they are fighting the government is one of the biggest tribe in Ethiopia, one of the largest. So they feel like they're the majority.
So how much percentage do you think they have of the country? Like, go percentage wise, how big are they?
Oh, they are big. I want to say at least 40 or 35% of Ethiopian population come from that.
I haven't checked how.
All right, let's go off his data. Let's say these people have about 40% of Ethiopia, and they're like,
not 40.
and they're not comfortable with
look
it.
it up, but
Tigray is like 16.
yeah, they are one of the largest tribe, if not in the whole Africa, at least in Ethiopia, and then Oromo follows. So those two tribes combine to fight the government,
Wow.
and then they feel left out.
You know, this is something that we have to go back in the field and do more research on,
Yes.
to see if the other sides are comfortable with this government.
Well, it looks
If they are not comfortable with this government, that answers the question to the UN, and the US wants to intervene right now. They should know that the people are not.
AU. What
AU.
is AU really? What is their purpose? And what do you think?
Ah,
AU.
man.
What do they do? What is AU? What's their function? What's their role?
But
in Africa?
they have no use to
Look,
me.
they're
I
right
haven't seen
there in
anything. They
Addis
have.
Ababa. The headquarters right there. What is their purpose? What are they doing?
I mean,
Not-
I believe they haven't had a straight way of solving the conflict. Any.
What do you mean?
I mean, like, we haven't seen them
Right.
take on a conflict and really walk through and solve it. So I believe there's no pattern that they're using.
The only they're good at is sanctioning.
That's what I'm saying. I
Threatening
mean,
sanction.
so-
You know, instead of solving the problem and bring solutions to the table, AU is there
and it's
to
be-
encourage sanction.
I mean, it's
see
be-
what they're doing in Zimbabwe.
I mean, it's because it's very complex, and it's always internal things. So the very first solution is always going to be the internal one.
right.
That's the
And that's
prefer-
the
Treat
that's
this like
only
like a
solution.
house thing.
yeah, that's
the
the prefer-
first
that's
and the only
that's the most
solution.
that's always the
I think that's the only solution.
I mean, that's the advisable solution first. Treat it first at home. If it doesn't work, the countries around it.
To help solve it.
Yeah,
You know what? How they should do it? TPLF and the government should have a dialogue.
Yeah, no.
It fails, right?
No,
That's-
we've
that's
accepted.
Which is
right.
most likely to fail, though.
Right,
which
It's
is
most likely to fail.
No, we can't say it's
And
most
then-
like it's more. Why do you guys say? Why do you guys keep?
Why wouldn't we fail?
Where were they when they was crying?
They-
No,
I
I believe we need to.
At this point, you can say they are almost succeeding.
No, I believe I think we still have the PM still has a good chance here. I think we can still believe in him, and I mean, the sense that we
Where
believe.
was he all
I
this
mean,
time?
this is a guy who has a Nobel Peace Prize. So I believe.
Don't even go there, man.
I mean,
it's just a prize.
No. It's at least a Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, it's the highest recognition you can have in the world. So what I mean is, he probably still has that touch that made the Nobel Prize committee kind of pick him out and give him that prize. So he still has it. I believe he still has the ability to prove himself here as really a monger of peace and really go to these guys and do it the way we believe he can do it.
Okay,
Because
that's
now-
a good point.
Now
right?
I believe now he has to kind of defend this prize he
But
has.
have you heard his statement?
That's the next thing that's the next thing I was going to go to.
Right.
So I mean, he already tagging the TPLF like as terrorists. That's
And then he did-
that's
his
That's the people
statement,
crying.
and
You
I
can't call them
quote, he
terrorists.
said,
That's the
"We
people
will
that need
bury
to be
our
heard."
enemy's life. That's a peaceful. Is that
I
a
mean,
peaceful
he said-
statement?
Yeah,
you will
just-
bury the enemies alive.
I mean,
And that's your own people. Your own people that you supposed. Okay, listen.
Those are your people.
Now listen. If you have a conversation with a typical Ethiopian, right, about the Prime Minister Abiy, right, they will tell you that guy is hypocrite. The reason why he won the Nobel Prize, it's because he said he's going to unify Ethiopia. He ended the war between Tigray and Eritrea.
No,
He
Eritrea,
signed the
yeah.
ceasefire, right?
Yeah.
That's the only reason he won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah,
Other than that, in Ethiopia itself, he's not doing
no, I mean
good.
that's the same sense.
That's a very good example.
No, I mean,
Attacking, right?
I mean that's the same
Right.
sense.
So how is that a peace?
That's the
Right.
same. No, I mean that's the same sense of peace going that we
Right,
that we
but
hope,
then
hope he brings it.
he withdrew the national military from Tigray to the capital city, and that's why Eritrea was attacking Tigray back. And that's why they were also upset. There's a lot going on in between. It's not just, this and this. No. There's a lot going on in Ethiopia more than what we watch and see is different with the reality.
Yeah, definitely, of course,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean,
You know,
being
so
on the field, being on the field is
my
different.
problem is, you know, where was he all this? If he's a really peaceful leader like he claims to be, when we begin to hear there is a problem, a situation in the north, let's solve it peacefully as he claims. Let's sit and have a dialogue
At the
from
beginning.
the beginning.
At
Now
the-
they are
don't wait.
40 kilometers.
No, I mean,
he's afraid he's gonna lose
I mean,
his power.
the
This man
Now he
is
wants to
yeah,
sit down
his
on the
problem
head
is
of the
power.
position.
The make has been.
Not that we are supporting what's going on.
No,
we are
no.
seeing what
Bro.
might happen.
I mean, the
my
make
problem
has
is
been
people
spilled
are
already.
dying. The country is not stable, and people are dying.
Right.
Whatever it is they have to do, let it be done
Innocent
fast.
civilians,
Because
you know, casualties.
we
you
are
know.
tired of losing African youths, our parents,
Right.
our children.
And those are the
we are
future
tired.
of the
we are
continent.
tired because when they keep doing this, I think they don't suffer.
Right.
They don't suffer the
No,
consequences.
he's sitting in his office.
It's the
they're calling
people
him,
that's
"Your
what- that
Excellency."
goes through everything.
He's living fine, but we
No,
are the
enough,
ones living the
enough,
consequence.
enough is
you know?
enough. Yeah.
So they have to come to a solution,
And-
you know, to end this conflict.
And call the people the terrorists or whatever you want to call them. When they take over the capital city.
No,
And-
they're
and-
not- they're not-
and-
they're not
and-
gonna take- they're not-
and-
they're
no,
not
let's say when they take over the capital city.
Well,
Let's say they take over the capital
possibility.
city, right?
They're not gonna take-
And we now have the UN knocking at their door. That's gonna be more people that are gonna die.
UN is the other organization.
No, I mean,
That's
I mean,
more people that are gonna die. You're gonna see
I
they're
believe-
dropping
I believe-
bombs in Ethiopia.
No,
and-
I believe the reason why we're talking all of this was saying here is because we want to avoid.
we want to. Yes, that's the
Right.
situation. I don't
We
really
wanna
want
to
it to happen.
avoid
Because we're talking
conflict.
about probably
don't
the
want
most
that.
humanitarian crisis in the 21st century.
yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
if that kind of thing were to happen, imagine
11 million.
Yeah, imagine they.
No, we
they are
don't
the-
want that. We don't want that.
No, imagine they are the stage where the PM is like telling like the youths to like arm themselves, like get.
That's what I was getting at.
Get
you know,
machetes and stuff like
he
that. That's
encourages
dangerous.
the
Right?
youth. Is that peaceful to you?
No, I mean,
Is that someone that want to approach the problem in a peaceful manner? No.
no, it's because of course you never know the other side. He doesn't know the other side because
Right.
he has tagged them already
But as
with.
peaceful as he claims to be, he
I mean,
would have
that's-
said, "Hey, my brothers and sisters of Tigray, let's have a."
Yeah, that's
Come
that's the
on,
sense.
sit
That's
down,
the sense.
tell me
That's
why
the sense.
you-
I mean, that's
what is
that's
the
what
problem?
You guys-
That's what we're appealing now. I
Right.
mean, that is that sense of.
But
of,
what
of-
you're telling your population that,
consensus.
you know, arm yourselves, youth, arm yourselves. We're gonna.
He
face
said that
it."
already.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
statement.
no. I mean,
Yeah.
So-
arm yourselves. We're gonna face our enemy.
What is he
Who's
trying
your
to do?
enemy? These
No,
are
no,
your
no.
people.
Are you telling your people to fight your people?
And you're telling the youth.
no, they want to defend the capital.
divi-
They want to defend
no,
the
that's
capital.
division right there.
No, I mean, he's the president, of course. He has to maintain the integrity of the country. But that's not where we are going to. What we are going to right now is we want to avoid that kind of situation. We don't want to be in that kind of situation where youths now, someone who is probably doing law school now, has to keep a machete in his house to defend himself. He has no skills in whatever thing. I mean, but it might be trivial now, but it's very serious. So we're appealing. I mean, it's kind of an appeal now to the PM to have that sense of consensus once more and be able to really dialogue with each and every Ethiopian. I mean, all of them make the country.
Exactly.
No one is to be prioritized to
Over
the
another.
other. Over
Absolutely.
another. Yeah, that's like the baseline.
And,
That's exactly what we're
okay,
saying.
what are the people asking for?
Oh, the TPLF inclusion.
Inclusion is a government, right?
No, the government, and
no
they
longer.
all- because
Right now,
they-
no longer inclusion. Now they want their own thing.
Actually, they wanted their own country because
No, they
they're
want
the
a country.
largest country, the largest tribes in Ethiopia. So they want that Tigray
northern
to
states.
be its own country.
This
So,
is a,
you know,
this is
it's a
result-
very
this is
divisive-
a direct result of so much pain over time. This is exactly what is going on in Cameroon. The people cried, they cried, you ignore. At some point, they are fed up. They want their own country.
In South Africa, it's the same
It's the
thing.
same thing.
The white
They
people
cry,
want
they
their
cry,
own
they cry.
country.
Okay, yeah. So you
that's
see,
why
so you see-
Africa's got to unite.
So you see, it's. I mean,
Treat these
I love-
things from the beginning.
I usually love the
Handle them.
I usually love the Africa Unite slogan, which
Yes.
is good, but it's
I-
kind of.
What, you think that is
It
realistic?
won't happen in our
Kind of fine.
lifetime.
It's kind of- probably.
No, I don't think.
We'll give it 100 years at
but
least.
maybe.
At least it won't happen in our lifetime.
It's not gonna happen today.
We have to have a hope that
If
it
mentalities switch, then it might happen.
Yeah. If we keep fighting.
But until then, we are in a situation where, I mean, the situation in Ethiopia is going to be like a lesson. It's a lesson. All the other countries will have internal conflicts. are equally watching. They're watching what's going on there. They're watching because anything that happens there could be like a ripple effect in other places.
Absolutely.
So imagine a situation where the TPLF or the Tigray actually it's a whole country on itself. It kind of boasts like separatist movement in all other parts of Africa, because giving them that you equally have this possibility of actually pulling yourself out from a country and being your own. But now the problem is, how do we tackle this situation in such a way that everyone is at peace? Like, in a way that we're like, okay, yeah, we can actually really manage. We can do this cessez-le-feu. We can be together.
We can live together.
Yeah. It demands a lot of sacrifice from the government. I mean, many things have to change. For instance, maybe the PM could be like, yeah, maybe it's time for someone from Tigray to be president.
Yeah, let's run a re-election or something.
That's why we're saying inclusion, right? Next election, one of the candidates will be from TPLF. Next, like they do here, Democrats and Republicans. Right?
I mean, all Ethiopia is not just the TPLF.
No, I know. So they have to include, everybody has to have a voice in the governance. Let's say you have a representative of Oromo, representative
from every tribe.
Every tribe. So that way everybody is included to avoid conflict.
Yes.
That's the problem we have in Africa.
Yes.
You know, ethnicity.
Yeah, that might be just the best way for them to handle this.
That's the only way.
They have to open the doors for every tribe to be able to send someone to represent them.
No, I mean that's how the state kind of functions, because we have states in Ethiopia, so we probably have representatives that are in parliament. The problem is, being in parliament is different from being in the government.
Right.
Okay.
You understand? So the PM is putting them off government. So
he's the executive.
Yeah. So it's different.
These are just their laws,
they're like
they're reporting the
exactly.
Ground,
Exactly. But if they're not holding strategic positions in the government, that's where the problem is. I mean, that's actually where the problem is. So bringing that's already a first step, and really being sincere in the dialogue they want to have with everyone, this inclusive dialogue, and because no matter how conflicts go, they always end on the table.
Right.
Okay, so let me ask you gentlemen now, okay, at this point, so Mr. JP, what is your take for this? What would you like advise the Ethiopian people to do right now?
Sit down. Ethiopian people or the government?
The government, that Ethiopian
okay,
people,
so
that is the government and all of them.
Have a dialogue.
Yeah.
Listen to each other, like, okay, what do Tigray want and what the government can do to solve the problem, right? So have a conversation and come with a conclusion. That's the only way, and then include everybody in that dialogue. That's in my opinion.
So
that's
in your opinion,
if that doesn't work,
you're calling for a dialogue,
right? There's AU,
and then
because
the best next door neighbor should be the AU,
right?
Okay,
right, because we are tired. You know, African youth dying, even Prime Minister, encouraging them to arm themselves. We are tired.
That is very sad that he actually said that.
We are tired of all this violence. It's not good. You know, we are the future of the continent, and now they are sending us to war. So dialogue is the only. So
Mr. Peter, what would
solution
you advise them to do?
I mean, the tackling the problem from the root. We don't have. We are not on the ground to understand exactly.
We're not
to understand exactly how the problem actually began and escalated to this point. Because it probably would have started like a march, people just protesting today, protesting next week, protesting on social media. Protesting on social media, things like that, censorship and stuff like that. So they have to begin from there. I mean, when the PM got to power, there was a lot of hope, like in Ethiopia.
In Ethiopia.
Yeah, he began.
I was even surprised.
Yeah, he began really well.
Escalated. Like
he began.
It takes time.
2019 to 2020.
It takes time. Peaceful, honestly, this has been going on for long. We just didn't know about it.
Yes.
Yeah. He I mean, when he got to power, he began really good. He began liberating all political prisoners, ending press censorship.
Ended the war between Tigray and
I I mean, as I said again, like getting the Nobel Peace Prize, like it's like you've done it all. I mean, Obama has a Nobel Peace Prize, so imagine you have the same kind of peace prize that he has a Nobel Peace Prize, a Nobel Prize, pardon, and the PM has a Nobel Peace Prize. So being at that same level of recognition is a big thing. So it means he did big things to be able to get there. So we still believe he can do those big things. We still believe he can do those big. But the problem is he's been like this guy who's been up doing all these good things, doing all this on censorship, liberating political prisoners, to this other guy now who is like on censorship. I mean the censorship in Ethiopia now. There's no the press is really tight, mass communication, internet blockage, internet blockage and stuff like that. He's gone down to this guy. I mean, last week
that's a surprise.
We were talking about UN workers were arrested and stuff like that because they were suspected of being sympathizers of TPLF and stuff like that. I mean, we're talking about, and we start getting stuff about gross human rights violations in the north because it's not accessible, not only to the media. So it's, and we're talking about the same person here. We're talking about the same guy
that has a Nobel Peace Prize.
So
it's done all this good.
It's like an internal contradiction.
Right. So he's living a total contradiction.
Yeah. So he's shown us his good side.
And now we're seeing the worst part of him.
He's shown us probably. I don't know if it's the worst side, but he's shown us the other side.
The other side. Okay.
So now he needs to take a stand so we know exactly which side he is on.
Right.
So we will, if we're going to know this guy, I mean, this was going to determine how it goes down in history. If it goes down in history as a guy who brought peace to Ethiopia all through, or the guy who just brought some cosmetic peace for some period of time.
Also keep in mind he wasn't elected.
So
it was a transition because they assassinated his predecessor. So he was a transition. He organized election in 2020. Pandemic came. They held the election.
Yeah, I feel like they need that election now.
Yes,
more than ever. So basically,
I mean, the TPLF went on to
your advice to the Ethiopian people is to trust their prime minister. Your advice to the Ethiopian people is to trust their prime minister. He's gonna.
Yeah, I mean that's the very first. I mean he's the leader. He's like the president. Put it that way. I know he's the PM, but he's like the president. He's the one who sets the pace. When he sets the pace by telling the youth to arm themselves with machetes, he's setting the pace. I mean, he's hitting it up. You understand?
That doesn't sound like
he's hitting it up.
Price type of person to me.
You don't understand? Yeah. So he's hitting it up. So everything he says, like we're reading everything he says, like we're reading his lips, everything that drops out from there, it's as important because that's what holds the country right now.
Absolutely.
So whatever he says, whoever is maybe writing a speech for him, I mean, should be it should be appeasement. It should be appeasement. We're talking about appeasement here. We, according to not only the sense of humanity, the sense of patriotism to the Ethiopians, more patriotic, that sense of loyalty to the country. I mean,
don't burn down their country.
Yeah, you can't burn down the country.
Don't kill your people.
Yeah. And remember, we're talking about the possibility of kind of the worst humanitarian crisis in the 21st century.
It's happening.
It's going to be a bloodbath if that kind of thing were to happen, and the famine and all that is going to be horrible. So
and we already know
put it in perspective.
Ethiopia.
I mean, yeah, put it in perspective. If it requires that he step down, probably he should. Okay. Yeah.
Well, that could be.
Here's my own take for the Ethiopian people right here. First of all, I'll encourage a dialogue for them, even though I feel like at this point it might be a little bit too late because these people are already like close to the capital city. But I would still encourage both parties, like even the people that are termed the terrorists, they should consider sitting down and staying together as one country. You know, don't kill your brothers, don't burn down your country. And this should be handled like a domestic matter that it is. They should try as much as possible to keep external forces out. If they must, it should be the African Union that is stepping in. If they must, it should be the African Union. Because history has taught us a lot, and we don't want history repeating itself. I have seen this happen too many times in my lifetime. We don't want that for the Ethiopian people. Yes. Keep the West out. Simple.
And that's an African war.
With Africans. AU, step in, help if you can. But they should encourage a dialogue. That's my take.
So let me ask you this. Do you think Prime Minister Abiy made a difference in Ethiopia?
Yeah, I mean that's going to be hard.
Prime Minister, I mean,
if
he did end the wars and did all of these things, then he brought the difference somehow.
Well,
mean,
then
he
it's
did-
right back to number one. He ended the war. the
He's
war
trying now to
back.
cancel his legacy. That's it. This is
That's
right there.
pretty much
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That it happens just once that we see someone really go up from one
this
phase
angle.
to another one.
in a matter of a year.
So
No.
now, so
You know,
now-
he came to power in 2019, remember?
So now-
2020, 2021, here we are.
yeah, so he
Back
has.
to the same
So we need.
situation.
So
that we
now
had
we need to.
Ethiopia for.
Now we need to know
He
the
might have
bigger.
inherited. Look, this man coming to power in 2019, like you said, he might have taken on some problems that the previous leader didn't address. Because I don't think a population of a country is gonna get to this point without having years and years of hardship.
No, I've told you.
Yes.
I mean, we discussed. We kind of cleared out already.
Yeah.
Because remember, a country that is made up of conquered, I want to say conquered tribes.
Right, they,
I mean,
they
the
were
kind of
monarch,
yes,
if you follow
yes,
the
yeah,
history.
yeah.
And
So-
then, now they are Ethiopia is just coming up.
Yeah. I mean,
The same
you
thing
could
is
you could
when
you
the
could you could
coup
actually
happened.
you could actually break Ethiopia like this, like
Right.
actually really fragmented like that. So it's like because of that, it's really imperative that they have a good governance. It's the same like the US. It's the same. It's the same thing because the US is like you could really fragment, you could really break it down like and really scatter it that way. But the country is still standing because of good governance. Without, I don't want to say it's perfect governance.
There's no perfect governance.
Of course, there's no. But the zeal, the zeal to do good, and be able to really work for the general good is what is activating the country and pushing it forward. So that's the same thing we pray and for Ethiopia and really expect that the situation doesn't escalate anymore. Yep.
All right. Well, to the great people of Ethiopia, we want to encourage them to keep holding on, and we're going to be praying for them. And as much as possible, we want to encourage peace in Ethiopia. We don't want a situation in which we're going to lose so many people in Ethiopia and destroy what we have built so far. We have come a long way, and we don't want to see that burned down. So, yes, we encourage this dialogue and possibly find a way to live together in Ethiopia. We're going to keep doing our research, keep covering this case as it is going. But as the situation keeps changing, unfolding, we will keep getting the information back to you guys. So thank you guys so much for always tuning in to the Africa is Home Global Podcast. And Mr. Peter, thank you guys for showing up. JP, thank you for always presenting it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, we will keep
Thank you for inviting me.
coming
So to
back.
our